Hey, everybody. I am so excited to have you here. I'm Andrea Amador. I am the administrator here of the group Grants Made Easy with Andrea Amador. I'm so happy to have you here and to have the opportunity to teach you about grants because, oh my gosh, guys, this is going to change your life. If you have been struggling with inflation and rising costs of food and fuel and rent and everything, there is relief out there. There is help and assistance out there. And you don't have to borrow from family, and you don't have to take out payday loans, and you don't have to do all of the things that you would do when you are desperate for money. So I just want to welcome you and thank you so much for coming. I have a presentation to share with you today. And what I want to do is I want to give you some of the highlights of what benefits grants are. And grants are free government money programs that because of COVID, and I will repeat this later in the broadcast, but because of COVID, there is such a huge amount of funding that is available. Over $3 trillion is now available to people who are earning incomes of up to $100,000 a year. So whereas before, funding limits and ceilings started at much lower annual incomes, maybe 30,000 or so. Now it's up to 100,000. So low to medium income people have a tremendous opportunity to get assistance through the government. So does anybody have any questions before we start? Okay. Let's jump in. Now, I'm going to ask you for a favor. I'm not 100% familiar in how to use StreamYard for screen sharing and viewing the chat. So I may not be able to actually view the chat. I'm going to test it out with you. I'm going to go to the presentation and then I'm going to ask you if you can see it full screen if I don't have it full screen. And if you cannot, then I will switch and I'll ask you to hold your questions and your comments till after I do the broadcast. Okay, here we go. Okay. All right. So actually, let me check in with you. Hey, everybody, do me a favor, just give me some quick feedback. Let me know if you're able to see the screen, the full screen view of my presentation, or are you just seeing a small part of it? I think what I'm going to have to do is tweak this after the broadcast at another time. So I'm going to give you the full presentation and I'll ask you to hold your questions till after that. All right, let's get going. Okay. So the presentation is Grant Basics. Get money for yourself, your family, and your business. Oh my gosh, you guys. I'm very excited to share this with you. If COVID has left you struggling with finances, there is so much help available to you. If debt is weighing you down, Guess what? Grants can help you get out of debt. So, as I briefly mentioned earlier, what are grants? Grants are United States government money programs that provide rent relief and cash and tons of free services like debt and housing counseling, nutrition counseling, job training, career counseling, tuition, legal services, business coaching, and more at no cost to you. Oh, yes. It's really important for you to protect yourself from grant scams. And I'm going to call somebody out right now because there's a guy in my group. His name is Richard, and he is a scammer. I have attempted to block him, but have had some problems. So I just want to protect you and make sure that you don't fall for anything that it is that he's doing, because one of our other members had brought to my attention the fact that he has attempted to scam her and promise her grants and say, oh, just tell me how much you want a grant for and I'll arrange it. Oh my gosh. No, don't buy it. Don't buy it from Richard. Don't buy it from anybody who contacts you and promises to offer you grants by the phone, because it just doesn't work that way. The people who are in a position of being able to offer you grants are employees of the government, and they're hardworking, and they have very clear definitions of what they need to do for their jobs. And calling you and me and offering a big prize is not it. That's not what they do. So they don't have the time or the energy to waste on calling people. You will never, 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 ever get a legitimate grant that is offered to you by a phone solicitor. Keep that in mind. Number two, second thing you can do to protect yourself from scammers like Richard: be skeptical. Be skeptical of people who are promising you grants and asking you for your money or your information. Oh, could you just send your bank details? Send me your social security number. What's your full name or your address? No. According to the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, that makes up the rules and the regulations in terms of how government grants are dispensed, they say no government agency will ever contact you to demand that you pay to get a grant. And no government agency will ask you to pay with a gift card, iTunes gift card, cash reload card, by money transfer or cryptocurrency. Ain't gonna happen. It's not the way it works. You don't pay for grants. Grants are free. They are provided by the government, but you don't get them directly through the government. You get them through nonprofit organizations. You get them through a third party that works for the government. Okay. Number three, government grants always have eligibility requirements to serve a very specific purpose. So if somebody says to you, oh, I'm offering you a grant and there are no strings attached, you don't have to do anything, you'll just get the grant, that's a lie. Government grants are intended for really specific purposes. So for example, if somebody is going to apply for a rent grant, they would need to provide correspondence between them and the landlord. They would need to show a copy of their lease. They would need to show the journal of their payments from the time that they became where at the point where they fell into debt with the landlord and weren't able to pay the rent going forward to present day. So if you're going to get a rent grant, then you have to provide all of the required documents specific to getting that rent grant. That could include your Social Security. It could include a copy of your marriage certificate if you are paired on the lease with a partner, a husband, wife. This could include the number of people who are in your household. It would include possibly information in terms of how much income you and your husband draw, your tax returns, all of that. So as I go into in my book, Grants Made Easy, Get Money for Yourself, Your Family, and Your Business, I go into the minute details and explain to you how to prepare your documents, how to label your documents so that they are received by the people who are preparing and helping you to get grants. You need to have your documents in order. You need to have your documents accessible in your computer or on an online cloud system. It's really important because most of the applications that you will be finding and filling out will be 2 to 3 page applications that will require you to provide documentation. And many times it's not going to be convenient to you, or it's just not advisable to send your private documents by mail. So it's much safer for you to do that and have that information on your computer scanned. And in the book, I also explain to you how to use scanning. I tell you scanning apps that I recommend and why you would want to do that. So again, nobody who promises you a no strings grant is a legitimate source of actually getting a grant. Now, all of the government grant information that you could ever want is available online. So never pay to get information on government grants because it's part of the public domain, which means all you have to do is go online, do a search for grants. And one of the things that I talk about, and I also point to a video of mine, is to show you how to do an advanced Google search to get grants that are right for you. You'll find that information in the book with that link. Now, you have the power to report scammers and frauds who are promising grants, who are trying to defraud you and steal your identity or your bank information. So if you suspect someone who is impersonating a government official, because it's a government official, that is the standard. That is the person who would be providing or giving you information specific to helping you to get grants, a bureaucrat, a government official, a person who works within the government. Anybody who is trying to defraud a government official is somebody who you can report, and you can call the HHS fraud line at 1-800-447-8477. Now, you may wonder, why does the government give grants? Why are grants made available to the public? That's crazy, right? How is it that the government is giving away money? Hello, what? There's a good reason why. The grants stimulate the economy. So by helping people to get back up on their feet, by helping families to pay their rent and to pay their mortgage and to get out of debt and to have a better quality of life, to buy homes and to up-level their lives, this helps to stimulate the economy. Because as people make more money and have more financial stability, they're able to purchase more. The purchase means that they're creating a stimulation in the economy. And when you have more money available, you can pay taxes. So that is the ultimate goal of the government and the reason why they're giving you and I grants. So for anybody who is earning under $100,000, they are eligible to receive these U.S. government free money programs known as grants. And this will help you. The thing about grants that is so cool is that grants are not like loans. So you don't have to pay them back, and you will never pile up debt through receiving grants. And you may wonder, gosh, I've never heard of this before. What is this? What are grants? How is this that I've never heard of this? This sounds amazing, like money coming off of trees, right? The reason why most people don't know about these government programs is because the agencies and programs and individuals and experts that are involved in the internal aspect of the grant process, they provide the services. They've already been paid by the government for their services. So then what they do is they take their services and they provide them to you. So now the question for you is, how do you connect with them? Ooh. I have been incredibly blessed in that I've gotten over $45,000 in government grants. And I know that because I can and I have, you can too. If you're having a hard time paying rent, you are so not alone. Grants can help you. As they helped my dear friend, Maria Elena Escobar. When I first started getting grants, I started getting grants as a result of necessity. When COVID just completely wiped out my income, when I'm not doing coaching, I do virtual assistant work. And in 2020, my coaching business was at a standstill. So I was completely reliant on my virtual assistant work income. And so when the agency that I was working for completely ground to a halt because the clients were hit by COVID financially, I lost my income overnight. And when that happened, all of a sudden, my husband and I went from a 2-income family to a 1-income family. And we could not pay our rent, and we couldn't pay our bills, and we were in desperate straits. And a friend of mine, let me share this. A friend of mine, I am an author. Actually, I'm wearing the same blouse today, 10 years later. This is the title of my book, Lovin' the Skin You're In, The Juicy Woman's Guide to Making Peace with Food and Friends with Your Body. And I am a women's empowerment coach. And what I do is I teach women how to rise above adversity. And so research and learning new things is natural to me. After 4 months of not being able to pay rent and being terrified of being evicted, a friend of mine suggested that I find out about grants. And I knew as much as you. I didn't know anything about grants, well, just a tiny little bit, because my kids were in school and they had received like the Pell Grant and other grants like that specific to their education and their tuition. But I didn't know that grants were available for individuals for rent, for fuel assistance, for food assistance, for buying homes, for buying land, for getting out of debt, Oh my gosh, I had no idea. So a friend suggested that I check out grants, and I went online, and I always go to YouTube. That's always my go-to. And I went online and I found a video of Matthew Lesko's. Matthew Lesko has become very dear friend and my mentor. After seeing that first video, I remembered that I used to purchase his books in the 90s. He is a 5-time best-selling author, and the man is the ultimate authority on grants. He has been helping people to get grants for over 50 years. So once I saw that first video and I watched it and I saw the information that he was sharing, I could see the scope of his knowledge and his ability to explain things and the depth of his caring and compassion, and I was hooked. And I started watching, and I started watching the videos on a consistent basis. And I was learning a little more each time about how to get grants. And after a couple of failed attempts at getting grants, because my papers, honestly, my documents were in complete and total disarray. They weren't on my computer. They weren't in the cloud. I was missing some documents. It was a little crazy. I was unable to receive several grants for which I had applied. But the first grant that I had gotten was because I watched a video of Matthew's that explained the importance of getting in touch with your political representatives, your local politicians, your congressman, your senator, your assembly member, your state, your governor, your mayors. All of these people and more are all your direct connection to getting government grants. And so that's what I did. And the first grant that I had gotten to help my family and to protect us from eviction was an $1,800 grant from Catholic Charities. And I was introduced to the administrator of Catholic Charities in the Poughkeepsie, in the Poughkeepsie, New York office through my senator, Senator Sue Serino. And when I contacted my senator, I was introduced to several other opportunities for grants. So that first $1,800 grant that was sent directly to my landlord's office made me a believer. And I learned that if I can get grants, I can teach others. So as an author, as an online instructor that I am, I started this group, Grants Made Easy with Andrea Amador. And I started sharing and teaching people everything that I was learning. And my dear friend, Maria Elena Escobar, was a coach just like me. And she was on disability and she had difficulty with paying rent. She was a month overdue on rent. She couldn't pay it. And so I told her about the emergency rental assistance program that I had learned about through watching Matthew's videos. And she applied. And she had gotten 4 months of back rent paid by the emergency rental assistance program. And then with the ERAP, with the emergency rental assistance program, you can recertify, you can apply again, make another request if you're still behind in rent. And she did. And she would have gotten the additional 4 months, but unfortunately she passed away. So the lesson for you is to pursue whatever you can as far as getting assistance. There is so much help available to you. And as a member here, I will share everything that I know. And you can get a ton of information in the book that I just finished writing, Grants Made Easy. Get money for yourself, your family, and your business. As I had mentioned, due to COVID, the government has increased the programs available to double the annual amount available. So there's over $3 trillion available for you and I and others to tap into through United States government grant programs. Grants can help you pay your mortgage, but the mortgage company is not going to tell you that. Now, I want you to wrap your brain around this. 1/3 of all money in the United States is controlled by the government through nonprofits, private businesses, foundations, charities, federal agencies. All of the government, 1/3 of all of the money in the United States is in the government's power. And they're providing it to all of these organizations to help you. There is plenty of money available to help you. You may wonder, how can grants help your family? You can get financial relief for your family. Let me ask you, how would you feel if you had a resource that could give you access to all of the ways you can get money, assistance, and free services for your family? Pretty cool. Here's an example that I drew from my book. In Washington, D.C., there is a grant available for low to medium income home buyers. For first-time home buyers, the grant is available for up to $202,000. It comes in the form of an interest-free loan, up to $202,000. Okay? Think about this. This provides down payment assistance as well as closing costs. Now, you would not have to pay that money back until you actually sell your house. So if you take a 30-year mortgage, at the end of the 30 years, after or at any point when you sell your house, that's when you would pay the $202,000 back. It's amazing. Okay, here's another example of a personal grant that can help you tremendously. FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Administration, under the auspices of the Homeland Security, they provide up to $9,000 reimbursement assistance for people who have paid for funeral costs related to loved ones who died whose deaths are related to COVID. So if you know of anybody who has paid for funeral costs, burial costs, minister, anything related to the death of an individual, that also includes the coroners, the picking up and the removal of the body from the coroner, and all of those costs related, you can get reimbursed up to $9,000. Here's another one I bet you didn't know, and I share this in my book, Grants Made Easy. Grants are provided by the IRS. The IRS is already giving out money to many people. So now they're also providing grants. Within the IRS, there is an organization system. It's called the Taxpayer Assistance Yeah, Taxpayer Assistance Services. It's a separate office within the IRS that will actually help you to negotiate with the IRS to reduce your tax debt. Now, I bet you don't know this, but you legally only have to pay 10% of your tax debt to the IRS. So you can actually get a taxpayer assistance service representative who has the lawyers who will fight for you, who will represent you in court, who will fight for you to get a reduced debt to the IRS. These attorneys can help you with audits and tax collection, appeals, and disputes. This year, there have been 5,000 people that have been hired to work for the IRS. Through the IRS, the Volunteer Income Tax Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program. Those are 5,000 individuals that are there for the purposes of helping you to prepare your taxes this year. So if right now you're going to H&R Block or I think it's called Jackson Hewitt, I'm not sure, any of the other tax preparing organizations, you're paying several $100s each time you do that. You can get that done for free. Okay, so you may wonder, how can grants help you with your business? Well, that's me. The gal who's holding up the certificate, the second from the left. And you can get free assistance to grow your business through the Small Business Administration. And I am a perfect example of that. When COVID dropped my business on its head, I knew that I had to go looking for alternatives. I knew that I had to pivot my business and I had to make changes and I had to find other alternatives of drawing income through my business. So one of the videos that I had watched of Matthew's spoke about the Small Business Administration. The Small Business Administration is a government organization that is set up to assist small businesses around the United States. There are over 1,000 chapters locally that you can find. You'll find them in universities, you'll find them in office buildings, you'll find them in different areas. And the people that are in there, again, they are an example of experts that are paid by the government. These organizations, these individual organizations, they're paid by the government for the purposes of executing a specific service. So the Small Business Administration is set up to assist small businesses in the areas of funding them, offering microloans, offering grants as well. The Economic Injury Disaster Loan was an example of that, where several billions of dollars was provided to struggling businesses last year through the EIDL. Another example of ways that the Small Business Administration can help you is by setting you up in this picture. I am here with a group of other women that was, I had found them when I went searching for Small Business Administration chapter location nearest me. I found an office that specified in serving women business owners. And it was in my local area, in the town where I was. And I took a program course. I took a course through them after vetting several different of their free services, after I saw that I loved their webinars, and after I viewed several of their webinars online that were on demand, I got so excited and I said, wow, I'd love to be able to join one of those webinars. So I signed up for their newsletter and I found out what was available, and I picked 3 topics and I registered for those topics, and I did it either as a series, a couple one-offs, and then 2 series. And one of them was on branding and another was on pivoting during COVID. And after I did that, after I attended those series workshops, one of them was 3 meetings. I think it was 2 hours each. I was so convinced of the quality and the value that the Small Business Administration delivered. And I knew that anything that I could continue to pursue would be a total win. And I signed up for free business consulting coaching. As a business owner, you probably know that you can easily pay tens of thousands of dollars per hour for business coaching. Well, the Small Business Administration does it for free. I signed up for a program, and I did this program, the one that you see the photo of. One of the things that I got from that was a completed business plan. And that includes setting up a budget for my business, doing financial projections, setting up the corporate structure, all of the aspects of business that needed to be handled, setting up insurance, everything. All of those, dotting all those I's and crossing all those T's, and learning from the best in the business arena, learning from the people who have been there and done that, that they are qualified enough to be hired by the government. So if you have, and if your business is looking for assistance, if you are in need of a marketing plan, if you are in need of learning how to get customers, then you definitely want to tap into the resource of the Small Business Administration. It's amazing. So I think I've shared with you through this how grants can change your life, but I've really only just touched the surface. Do you know that there are grants available for travel? Like if here's a small example, a student can travel, your son, your daughter can go and take, oh, what is it called? Okay, I've gone blank. But anyway, they could study in Spain for a year, and it is all done through grants. You can buy homes, as I gave you the example. You can buy property. In Chicago, there are thousands of plots of land available for a song. You can buy cars, you can buy pools, and so much more. The more that you're dedicated to doing the research, to finding out what's available, the more your eyes will open and you will get so excited to find there's just more and more and more, and it builds, and there's more available every day. This is an aid for my local representative now. Last year, my husband passed away, and that caused a tremendous amount of displacement in my life. And wow. Okay. And soon after he passed away, I was evicted from my home. And I lived in New York, where I am again now. But at the time, after I was evicted, I went to live with my daughter in Maine. And prior to that, I understood the importance of getting health care, getting good health care. And I had gotten that through my local, my senator, Senator Serino's office. They recommended that I get set up with health care, and I did. And after Angel passed away, I sought out the services of a grief counselor. And I loved working with Linda. She helped me through so many problems and pain. And at the point when I moved from Poughkeepsie, New York to Richmond, Maine, I actually had, the following Monday, I actually had an appointment set up to meet with my grief counselor. It was done all online. And when I told them that I would be calling in from Maine, they said, "Oh, Andrea, we're so sorry. We can't help you anymore. This service is only specific to New York State." So, as I describe in my book, one of the other benefits that you will have by contacting your local elected official is that your local elected officials have the power to connect you with all of the people in government, federal government organizations. They can grease the wheels. They can initiate and facilitate communication and conversations, and all of that red tape that is going on. They can help you with that. So at the point when I knew that I was moving back to New York, and I'm here now, I went directly to, I sought out the local congressman. I wasn't sure who it was, but I was looking for a local politician to help me so that I could restore my grief counseling and I could continue my sessions with Linda. That was so important to me. And this wonderful gentleman here named Max is the aide for my local congressman in the 13th district. His name is Adriano Espaillat. And Max, after telling my story and explaining that I had lost my ability to connect with my grief counselor through my insurance, Fidelis, he told me what to do. And the next day I did it. And within a week, I was talking to Linda again. That is just one of the examples of how your local elected officials can help you to cut through red tape to make things easier, as I share in my book. So, if you haven't already figured it out, grants are as abundant as having an ocean full of fish. And if someone gives you a fish to eat, your hunger will be satisfied maybe for a day, right? But if you learn how to fish, as I'm offering to teach you, you'll never go hungry again. And this is the book that I have just finished writing. It's Grants Made Easy. Get money for yourself, your family, and your business. It's your guide to getting government grants. And for more information on getting grants, you're going to want to buy this book. It's a $29 value, and I'm giving it to you now for $9.99. And I want to up the value and give you even more. When I first started the group, the Facebook group, Grants Made Easy with Andrea Amador, I started by putting together and creating an e-course and sharing it with the members. And I've taken that e-course and I've packaged it so that you can have access to it now. And that also is a $29 value. So what I'm offering you is to combine the value of having the e-course along with my book. The two of them would be a $58 value, and I'm offering you that for $19.98. And if you need a little bit of hand-holding assistance, I am here for you. The value of my coaching for an hour is $150. What I'm going to do to sweeten the pot for you, if you're looking for research, if you're looking for a map, a roadmap telling you what you need to do to get grants, to show you the grants that are available to you, that's the grant winner bundle that you can purchase. And in the grant winner bundle, not only will you get an hour of coaching with me, you will get the e-course and the book for $150. So I have given you a good example of, hold on just a second now. Oh, that's not good. Let's see what we have here. Okay, so I have given you a good example of all of the opportunities that exist by you tapping into grants. So now it's up to you. What will you do? What kind of grants are you looking for? Are you a business owner? Are you looking for some assistance with your small business? Are you a single mom, single dad, parent? Are you having a tough time with rent or mortgage? Grants are for you. So I want to thank you so much. And I want to recommend that you buy my book, because that's where you start. By empowering yourself, by giving yourself the information and learning how to get grants, the people that you contact, the organizations that you look for, how to set up Google alerts, how to do advanced searches on Google. This is what you need to know to be able to get the assistance you need. So I want to thank you. It has been my delight in spending time with you. Have an amazing, amazing day. Bye now.